So how are we getting our topics? ChatGPT?
Perplexity AI.
Oh, okay. Okay. My name is Natalie Moles. I work for Diversified Capital, and I'm a strategic loan officer.
I am Justin Moles, the very fortunate husband to Natalie Moles. I work with the Moles Group out of Intero Real Estate Services, a realtor that covers the entire Bay Area, residential and a little bit of commercial. And today we are going to talk about who gets blamed when the dream home is just out of reach. It's you.
Me. I get blamed. But then you get blamed because then I yell at you for showing a buyer a property that they couldn't afford.
It's very hard because, as a buyer, as a real estate agent, obviously both of us are in commission. So you get very excited when you're about to go hunt, right? You're about to go out and sell a house, get somebody a dream home, make the American dream come true. So it's an exciting process for everybody involved. And I believe that buyers know obviously buyers know how much they make, right? I make X amount.
Well, not all of them.
Okay. They have a perception of how much they can afford through what they make on their W-2 that they get every 2 weeks. And so they have this vision in their mind that they can afford a $3 million house in downtown Los Gatos. And then we sometimes, and I think all realtors might be guilty of this. We should have better practices that you get your loan officer. They should be getting pre-approved before you even show a house, right? We have that practice instilled through our group, just because we don't want to waste their time. We don't want to waste our time. We want to understand what we're working with, and we don't want to get their hopes up. But yes, when they say, hey, I want to go see this $3.5 million house in Almaden, we get excited and we go show it, only for them to be dismayed because you are the bearer of bad news.
Right. I mean, it could even be a $500,000 condo and they're only approved for $490,000. I get these situations all the time where, okay, now we just kind of need to either find another avenue to make it work, which is where I have to put my wizard hat on, or have the conversations with the clients about what their true affordability is. And in addition to that, educating, maybe not necessarily you in particular, but whatever agent I'm working with, we shouldn't be shopping for homes over XYZ. So.
Well, then how could, going back to, you're saying condos, like $500,000 condo, with HOAs kind of going up at 30% over the last couple of years since COVID with basic inflation, right? So inflation, starts here and then it filters into the consumers with labors, material, to keep the upkeep of HOA. A lot of times they think they can afford a certain condo, and that's probably why condos are a little bit more stagnant in Santa Clara County because of their DTI. Is suddenly when they once could afford, the $500,000 condo, the HOA has gone from $200 to $400 in the last 3 years, and that kind of throws it off.
Yeah, which is why when we pre-approve clients, we give them different pre-approvals based on different HOA fees. So I always ask them, what type of homes are you looking at on Zillow? What HOA dues are you looking at? And depending on what that looks like, they could have potentially a couple different pre-approval numbers and figures based on HOA dues.
But what about single-family homes? Like, let's say they are approved for, let's say they go see a $3 million house. Is the home not home warranty, but home insurance? Like, are those being implemented into their DTI that could throw them off into unaffordable position, I guess?
Absolutely. So, I mean, as we all know, home insurance has gone up over the past couple years due to all of the fires. And when we have clients that are looking in rural areas, we always quote a higher policy because we anticipate it being on the California FAIR plan.
Okay. And so are there anything else, I think that what's the average, I guess, DTI? What do you feel comfortable with from a lending perspective on a 30-year fixed at a certain price point of $3 million versus, let's say, $100,000? Is what do you feel is the barrier?
Well, I mean, I always tell my clients, like, it's all subjective, right? Everyone has a different lifestyle. So I'm going to give you the guidelines. Technically, you can go up to 50% with non-QM lenders in the jumbo market. Do borrowers want to utilize that high of a DTI? Depends on strategy. I typically don't see clients going over 43% on their debt to income ratios unless there's a situation where they're trying to purchase a new home before they sell their other one. And this might be a situation that they're only keeping a high DTI for a certain period of time and then things get restructured.
So you are saying that you are to blame for if I go show them a house?
No, I would never give you a pre-approval outside of the DTI qualification range.
How fast can you turn a pre-approval around? And also, is it best practices? Now, a lot of buyers get very excited, right? Just like I said, we get excited too because it's all emotional for it's when they don't get a house. It's not like I just go around with a big smile on my face. You can say back at home, I'm not the happiest camper in the world, right? We're very emotional.
He hates losing.
I do hate losing. So what would be, I guess I lost my train of thought.
How fast can I pre-approve someone, you said?
Yeah. So would it be best to do, go through underwriting? Because I guess a question would be,
stay on track.
Bird. No, if you wanted to go off and you want to go see a house, you get really excited to go see it, but an underwriting would take how long versus just a pre-approval? You can spit out a pre-approval pretty quick.
Sure, I can depending on the complexity of the file, I can pre-approve someone in 2 hours. If they have RSU income and it's complicated, they just got hired and they're on a new hire grant, like it just depends on the file. Not all of my pre-approvals I recommend go through underwriting. Like, for example, if I have a W-2 employee that's on salary and it's just vanilla, then I'm not going to clog up our underwriting department with a file that I know is going to get approved. If there's a file that has situations in it that I think the underwriter should underwrite prior to making a non-contingent offer, that's when I go through underwriting and get an underwritten approval.
And I guess from a realtor standpoint, I like how you're holding the microphone for me. This is great.
It's actually kind of heavy. I wouldn't mind if you held it.
I feel like a professional athlete. I guess so in most cases, most buyers shop at their max. So, we'll stay with that $3 million mark. If they're at $3 million, they want to see the house is at 2.9. From an offer standpoint on those, I think that where I suggest they go through underwriting is how you can make your offer more compelling is if you're at the very max, if the house is 2.9, this is kind of heavy. If the house is listed at 2.9 and you offer, and that's your max, let's say, or 3, and that's your max, the best way to go about the offer is to go with minimal contingencies, right? So sometimes, I would love to go with release a loan contingency. The appraisal at that point, all things are appraising in Santa Clara County. So, in what world do you live in?
You have to give the mic to me. It's hard. We've had a few appraisals come in low. Some of my clients, along with other colleagues of mine. So you kind of have to be careful, run your comps, do your due diligence like you do. But sometimes you get a bad egg.
And then what do you do in that process? Reorder an appraisal?
You can't just reorder an appraisal. You would have to, you can, unlikely that it'll change because appraisers, it's their craft and they came up with the value. But if you're at a bank, you're stuck with that appraisal. If it's with me, we could always cancel the file with our in-house product and broker it to another lender and then rerun another appraisal with a different product, different program, different lender.
Yeah, I guess, from my standpoint, if you are at your max, a clean offer. Other ways to do it is increase the EMD. So the earnest money deposit, your good faith deposit in real estate is 3% of the purchase price over the offer that you're writing. Sometimes to make it more attractive, if you're at your max, you're going to put that's part of your down payment anyway, so it doesn't really affect you all that much. You could put 6% down. Make the offer more attractive if you're at the top of your budget. Have limited contingencies, and that's why I'm like, hey, maybe we go through underwriting, the pre-approval, because Natalie is systematic in her approach and her numbers are spot on, but the final say comes down to the underwriter, just like an umpire in sports, right? So my process is if you're at that max, let's clean up that offer and make it as enticing as possible. Quick close, right? release no contingencies, increase the EMD, something that can show that you have good faith and that you're putting skin into the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's.
I mean, I was just trying to think of what are the other things that we get, like, we can conflict at home when we're talking about some of the clients that you've sent me and the buyers. I mean, normally we're pretty aligned. I think it's normally when you just show a property to someone that I have not finished their pre-approval on, and I get very anxious. I'm like, Justin, I need to see their documentation. Let's not show houses until they're pre-approved. It's easier said than done.
And there's no harm in fact. I mean, from that standpoint, I guess you could also say, like, showing, it's always good practice to show properties. I sometimes I like to see the client go out and see properties and see what that property, what $3 million gets you in a certain area, and it's the practice of learning. And then even, let's say they can't afford it and write in the offer, even if they lose and they're going to lose the offer, it's good practice so they understand how this process works and how hard it is to.
That's really funny because it's very rare for your buyers to.
That's true.
It may only happen once or twice, and then they get it.
I am almost perfect.
Because you don't like to lose. And you don't like to show properties that they can't get.
But it's good to educate the client so they can see that this is the process, this is what it is, this is what it takes. We're happy to do it any time of the day. I mean, what was I doing this past Monday? I was writing an offer on the couch from like 6. Put a movie on for the kids after dinner and wrote an offer for a couple hours. We knew it would be a tough situation for the buyers, but it also educated the buyers, saying, okay, like maybe we should readjust our goals and what we think we should be focusing on, what price point, because this is going to go for more than I anticipated it to go for. Okay,
in your experience, what are the most common buyer delusions that you see on your side, in your point of view?
Buyer delusions.
Okay,
Elaborate.
like I'll give you an example. They have a wish list and they want everything and anything.
Okay, so
that's just an example.
Good example. I try to, there's non-negotiables for some buyers, right? But no house is ever going to be perfect. My thing is find the things that you absolutely need and get that piece of land, because God's not making any more land, and you can always expand. You can always change a room. You can always repaint a certain room. Those costs are minimal. Even buildings is minimal, right? 450, 500 square foot to add on is the value's in the land, not the value's in the real estate, not the building, right? The building, that's what makes buildings so profitable, is getting the land and then making a couple of different properties on it. So don't fixate yourself on certain aspects of the property that you can kind of get around, because there's no property's perfect. If it's, I need a pool, okay, we need to get a pool. And a pool's going to cost you $250,000 to put in. To fill in, it costs like $30,000. So that's something where I think that with the valuations of properties in Silicon Valley, filling in a pool is a lot more, hey, we can move forward with this property and spend, the $20,000, $30,000 to fill it in versus building a pool, because you're already going to spend a lot of money. But certain things like colors or the way the property looks, or the stucco and the aesthetic of the outside, landscaping, stuff like that can be adjusted.
Is this why you had us buy a SHIT show to get into Almaden, and then you knew I put my touch on it?
I mean, at the time, I didn't know if your touch was that good.
Oh, rude. Microphone back.
I didn't. I mean, I wasn't even in love with it. I mean, I wasn't even in love with Almaden at first. I do love it now. You had been raised here. I'd been raised, in a town next door. But a town. I don't want to name drop. Okay. Gossip. But there was a footprint on it that we knew we could. I mean, we did that. I was 30. I think she was. I don't know. I robbed the crib.
28.
No, you were less than that.
Can you share the microphone? No one can hear me.
I have a better voice. you were 26. It was, it was over $1 million. It was fortunate to be in that situation. I had invested my money in the condos back when they were pre-COVID, back in 2013 or something. So we were able to move over here. The seller had kind of put himself in a tough position, and we were able to sneak in, and the layout was perfect. It was a great starter home. I have always said it wasn't the perfect home for us. I know. And
I could talk about a wish list. This guy wanted a pool so bad. And all the houses that we saw before the one that we bought, it was like you would walk into the backyard and go swimming, right?
Yeah. But I was 30 years old, and I was like, dude, we're going to have these crazy Wolf of Wall Street parties, like all our friends are going to come over. Needless to say, a lot of them already had kids, and we didn't have kids. And I thought there was just a different lifestyle. We were going to have big barbecues. And what it really was us just being homebodies, and
Would you say we have more parties now than we did before kids?
Yes, absolutely. Now the kids are the ones having the parties, right? And they're young, and Spider-Man shows up, and we have lifeguards for the swimming pool. But we addressed the pool. The pool wasn't perfect. The house was 19 different colors. We redid the backyard first because we're outdoors people. We like to entertain, like to have a good time. And then we redid the house with your touch. I did nothing, but I did get the television's 90 inches. So that's awesome. But the all the aesthetic otherwise was yours. So,
well, thank you for tuning in. It was great chatting with you guys. We'll do more of these. Put this on my loan drama page. What do you think, Jay?
Well, it's gonna be on my page.
It's gonna be on my page. It's gonna be on both of our pages.
Well, I'm gonna pay to promote it, so I'll get more looks and likes.
Fake looks.
It's just a bot.
Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to click the follow button so you guys can watch more of our videos and a little bit of our banter.
If you guys actually have any questions, and you enjoy this little bantering that we do, this is very common. This is what we do at home all the time. So send your questions in, put them in the comments. We'd love to answer them. Thanks for watching.